some poetry for you on the Ning Nang Nong. On the Ning Nang Nong where the cows go bong and the monkeys all say boo. There's a Nong Nang Ning where the trees go ping and the teapots jibber jabber joo. On the Nong Ning Nang all the mice go clang and you just can't catch them when they do. Ning Nang Nong, cows go bong, Nong Nang Ning, trees go ping, Nong Ning Nang, the mice go clang. What a noisy place to belong is the Ning Nang Nong. The Owl and the Pussycat. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a £5 note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are, you are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married, too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. And there in a wood a piggy stood with a ring at the end of his nose with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy. I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince with slices of quince which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand on the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. Hi, so today we are going to have a look at rhyming. So not all poetry rhymes, but lots of it does. And so we are going to have a look at rhyming today, and we are going to see if we can identify some rhymes in a narrative poem, in a story that rhymes. And also we will try and come up with some rhyming pairs, and then we might try and write some rhyming sentences. We'll see how we get on with it. You will want something to write with and something to write on. So if you don't have those, then I would pause the video and go and get them and then come back and join us. So I thought the first thing that we would do is we would use a narrative poem. We would use a story. It's a story that I have read previously, so you might know it. We use The Koala Who Could by Rachel Bright and Jim Field. And it's a very lovely story, but it is written so that it rhymes, so it will be perfect. And what we are going to do is we are going to listen really carefully and see if we can hear the rhyming words. And when we hear the second of the rhyming words, we put our fingers on our noses and we are going to see if we can remember both words in that rhyme. And then when we get to the end of the double page spread, we will pick out the words that rhymed. When we talk about rhyming, we might not know what that means. And that would be really hard to pick out 2 words that we don't know what that means. So when we talk about rhyming, what we mean is 2 words that sound very similar, that have a similar ending. So for instance, the words fish and tank don't rhyme because they have no similarities. The word fish and food don't rhyme. They would be part of alliteration because they start with the same sound, with the same letter. But when we're talking about rhyming, what we're looking for is the end sound. Now, not necessarily the end letters because they're not always spelt the same. Rhyme gives us a bit more flexibility and it's to do with the way that they sound. So for example, if we were using the word fish, it might rhyme with the word wish or dish. And to start with, when we're practicing, we can also use all of the other ones as well. So we can go through the alphabet and it could be bish or ish or vish, which might not be proper words, but they help us to get into the hang of rhyming, picking 2 words that end with the same sound before we then get into having to select real words. So playing with rhyming chains is a really good way of practicing if it's something that you find tricky. Are you ready? In a wonderful place at the breaking of dawn, where the breezes are soft and the sunshine was warm, a place where the creatures ran wild and played free, a koala called Kevin clung to a tree. 2. In a wonderful place at the breaking of dawn, where the breezes were soft and the sunshine was warm. Dawn and warm. Well done, dawn and warm. And then on the other page, a place where the creatures ran wild and played free. A koala called Kevin clung to a tree. Free and tree. Well done. A nicer grey fellow you never could meet, as soft as a soft thing from ear tufts to feet. His favourite way to relax in the sun was to cling and to nap and to munch a leaf bun. A nicer grey fellow you never would meet. And then what was the other one? Meat and feet, from ear tufts to feet. Well done, meat and feet. And then his favourite way to relax in the sun. So sun was the word, sun and bun. Well done, sun and bun. He was terribly good at all these three things. Yes, Kevin was king of the staying still kings. Yeah, things and kings. Well done. You see, high up was safe since he liked a slow pace, while down on the ground seemed a frightening place. Well done. Pace and place. Too fast and too loud and too big and too strange. Nope, Kevin preferred not to move nor to change. Strange and change. Well done. So he clung to his tree as he knew how to do, and he was never too keen to try anything new. Do and new. Well done. So that's a great example there of two words that sound the same but they're not spelt the same, because here is the word do look and here is the word new. So they've both got oo, but it's a different one. So when Wombat stopped by and he shouted one day, "Hey Kevin, why don't you come down here and play?" Day and play. Well done. I think, he replied, I should stay on my plants. I'm busy right now, so I'm sorry, I can't. Plant and can't. Well done. That kind of depends on accent, but that's the one that they were going for. Why not? Cried the Ruse, who liked the idea. Why, yes, called the Dingoes. You've nothing to fear. Idea and fear. Well done. You're getting really good at this. But Kevin, who wasn't the do things quick sort, said, I've clinging to do, but thanks for the thought. Sort and thought. Well done. As Kevin sat watching them chatter and share, a part of him wished he could join in down there. There and share. Well done. But he knew he'd miss home in the dark and the late. The whole thing was risky. Adventure could wait. Wait and late. Well done. Whatever the invite, he'd always say no. Oh dear, it seemed Kevin just couldn't let go. No and go. Well done. So his life was the same no matter the day. The weeks came and went and the months rolled away. Day and away. Well done. And Kevin still stayed still while the world moved around until he awoke to a worrying sound. Sound and around. Well done. Tap, tap. The sound went, well, this was a blow. Tap, tappity, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, no. Yeah, no and blow. Well done. Uncling, the crowd called that had gathered below. Leap and we'll catch you. Just let yourself go. Go and below. Well done. But Kevin was scared. Let go. No, I shan't. I won't, clung on Kevin. Oh dear, I just can't. Can't and shan't. Well done. Woomph. Down came the tree with a cracking and pinging, crash and a wallop, with Kevin still clinging and pinging. Well done. Kevin, he carefully opened one eye and looked up at the love staring down from the sky. Sky and eye. Well done. Then one claw by one claw he slowly unclung. He felt springy and light and happy and young. Young and unclung. Well done. That was a tricky one. The worst he could think of had now come to pass. He was just fine. Why, he felt quite first class. Class and pass. So when Wombat held out a most welcoming paw, Kevin, he didn't hold back anymore. More and paw. Well done. When Dingo asked, now will you come out to play? The crowd all joined in with a what do you say? Play and say. Well done. And even though this wasn't part of his plan, Kevin replied, yes, I think that I can. Can and plan. Well done. And Kevin from that day was always can do, because life can be great when you try something new. Do and new. Well done. So if you had a version of a story now, Rachel Bright and Jim Field, most of their stories that they write do rhyme. So if you had one of of these, then you could go through and you could do the same thing. Julia Donaldson generally writes in rhyme as well, so you could do the same thing. You could go through and you could find the rhyming words in there. And there are lots of other examples of children's literature that is narrative poetry that rhymes. So you could always practice that way. We are going to have a go at creating some rhyming chains, and then we will have a go at putting them into sentences. So to start with, we are going to use the word ending at. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to take the next 30 seconds to write as many words as you can that end with at. Now, a really good way of doing this is to go through the alphabet and try it, and if it works, then brilliant, and if it doesn't, then you can not do it. But that's a really good way of getting started. So how many words can you get that end in at and therefore rhyme? Yeah, that's it, just replacing that first sound and then keeping the at the same at the end. I wish I would have taken my own advice because I didn't. It was very silly of me. How many did you get? I have mat, bat, chat, cat, rat, sat, vat, like a big jug of something. That, hat. They're great ideas, well done. What about if we end in an? So instead of it being at, let's end in an. So I am going to use my own advice this time, and I'm going to try and go through the alphabet and see whether or not I can get more that way. I started like that and then I digressed. What did you manage? Ban, can, fan, van, man, ran. So when we're coming up with a rhyming chain, all we are doing is changing the first sound. And if I'm writing a poem, then I will try and find a word that I want to be at the end of my sentence, and then I'll try and find another word that rhymes with it by changing the beginning of the word in terms of the sounds of it. And then if I can't, then I will find a synonym. I will find another word that means something similar to my first word. So let's see if we can write some sentences that rhyme. So if I start with, I saw a cat. So I saw a cat is my first part, and I need to make my next part of my sentence rhyme with that. So it's going to end, my next bit of sentence is going to end in a word that rhymes with cat. So I saw a cat sitting on a mat, yeah? Chasing a bat, or chasing a rat, or wearing a hat. I saw a cat wearing a hat. So when we're looking at rhyme in sentences, generally, because we're looking at rhyming, effectively what we're looking at there is rhyming couplets. So it's a couple of sentences that rhyme. And the way that we go about doing that is it's the last word of the sentence that's going to rhyme. Now, often it wouldn't be the two directly after each other. If we were writing a longer poem, there would be something in between it as well. But for practice, this is a great way of doing it. So the farmer had a pig. There's the first part of your sentence. The farmer had a pig. So now the farmer had a pig. We need to put another sentence to it that ends in a word that rhymes with pig. So it will have ig at the end. Can you think of any? The farmer had a pig who was very, very big. Yeah, absolutely. That one would really work. I went for the farmer had a pig who liked to jig. The jig is a silly sort of dance. And this is where the more words we know, the easier poetry becomes, because we can use some of those quirky words that we don't use every day because they rhyme, so we can choose synonyms. So if we're ever not sure, we can always ask. And a great way of coming up with a rhyming chain, if we're not sure, is to go through the alphabet and then add the ending on to the end. Sometimes you will hit across a word that is a word, but not spelt like that. In which case, you obviously have to spell the word as it should be. Like if we were doing oo, for example, sorry about that. If we were doing oo, for example, then eventually we would hit across this, new. Now, new is absolutely a word and we could rhyme it with boo, but it would be spelled EW because that's the spelling of oo for the word new. It still counts because it's how it sounds, not how it's written. Have a practice. See if you can write your own little poem. It doesn't have to make any sense. It can just be silly and you can practice rhyming. Whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye-bye. Hi. So today we are going to have a look at multiplication. So the sign we need is this one, and it means multiplication or multiply or times or groups of or lots of. And today we're going to unpick it a little bit further. So we are going to practice using arrays, and then we are going to unpick what this means and what this means in terms of if I know this, I also know this. So we're going to look at what we call a cumulative law today. We're going to look at how different numbers, facts that involve multiplication are related to one another. The other sign and symbol that we will look at today and is always important is this one. And it means equal or equals, and all that means is the same as. So whatever is on this side is the same as whatever is on this side. So if I drew a fish on this side, I couldn't draw a bird on that side because they wouldn't be the same. If I have 3 over here, I need to find some way of making 3 over here. You are going to need something to write with, and you are going to need something to write on. We will do practice, so you will need space. You need something to write with and something to write on, and make sure that you have plenty of room that you can practice some arrays and some number sentences while we have a little play around with multiplication and figure it out. So if you don't have that, pause it, come back. We're going to have a start by practicing some multiplication using arrays. So let's start by doing 5 lots of 3, 5 times 3. So think about what the number sentence needs to look like. 5 times 3, 5 times 3. And then think about what that means. So we're going to do our array. So we're going to have 5 going across, and then each one will have 3 in. So if I just do my 5 going across, and then I will show you what I mean by 3 in the one. So it's got 3 in it, but it's not this and then 3 going down. It's 3 in it, including that top one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to fill the rest of that in. And then we use that to help us because we can use it to count. We'll find a total and we'll have our answer. Now, the reason that I've done my array, I've spread them out quite clearly. I've given them a good bit of room, and the same coming down as well. And the reason for that is that if we go wrong when we are drawing it, it's really obvious. We can see it really clearly, which is really useful. If we squish it all together, it can be really difficult to see where we're at, and that in turn can mean that we get the answer wrong and we don't know where we've gone wrong. So spreading it out makes it much easier to see and to use. So we're looking at 5 lots of 3 here. So we've got 5 going across and 3 going down. Either I could count in 3s or I could count in 5s. I'm going to choose to count in 5s because I find that easier. So 5, 10, 15. 5 lots of 3 equals 15. Let's do one more as a little practice, and then we will have a look at how they are linked. So let's do 8 lots of 4. Okay, so 8 times 4. So think about what that number sentence needs to look like first. Well done. And then think about how you will go about drawing that. So you will obviously have your 8 across the top, and then you are going to have 4 in each row going down. Now you want it to be as neat as is possible, but also obviously we don't want it to take forever. Here we go, look. And then we can use that to help us count. So we've got 8 up to here because we've got 4, 8, and then I'm going to carry on. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I have 8 lots of 4. I have 32. Now, from there, I can work out a few different things because Let me show you with a smaller one so that I can fit both versions on the page. So I'll show you with 3 lots of 2. So 3 lots of 2. So here's my 3 lots of 2. But I could also flip my array on its end, and then what would I have? So I've got 3 lots of 2, or I've got 2 lots of 3. Well done. So can you draw that? Can you draw it as 3 lots of 2 here, and then 2 lots of 3 next to it, and write the 2 number sentences that go with it? I'll give you just a couple of seconds to do that. And then can you work out the answer for each one? So how many do you have on each one? Is it the same or is it different? Why do you think that is? Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. It's the same. And the reason that it's the same is because we've just flipped it the other way around. We've just turned it. So rather than having 3 across and 2 down, we've got 2 across and 3 down. So 3 lots of 2 is the same as 2 lots of 3. So let's have a go at doing 3 lots of 4. So can you do the number sentence 3 lots of 4, and then can you do the array to work that out and leave space next to it? Okay, so 3 lots of 4 and then leave space next to it. Make sure you count it up afterwards. So I've got 3 lots of 4 there, and I worked out that there were 12 altogether. And from that, I can also tell you what this is. I don't have to write anything down because it's the same. So the answer to 4 lots of 3 is 12. So if I know one, then I know the other. And I also know 2 other facts as well, because remember that that equals sign just means is the same as. So in actual fact, I also know that 12 is the same as 3 lots of 4. And I also know that 12 is the same as, yeah, well done, 4 lots of 3. So I can write in here, I can write 4 times 3. So it's the same as both of those. So from one number fact and one array, I can work out 4. And I can use them to help me. So I just have the same 3 numbers in my 4 different number sentences, but I can flip the 2 that I multiply because it's the same either way round, similar to addition. And then with the answer, with the thing that it's equal to, that can either go at the end or it can go at the beginning, because that sign just means is the same as. It doesn't mean this is the answer. It just means is the same as, and we have to just balance it out so that we have the same on both sides. So let's have a go then at doing a couple of those together. I will give you 1 number sentence, and then we will use an array to work out that answer, and then we will try and come up with the 3 other number sentences that match that link to that. We have the whole little family. So let's see if we can do 5 lots of 3. Okay, so 5 times 3. So how many going across? How many going down? And then can you use that to help you work out the other 3 number sentences as well? So as a check-in point, I will show you my number sentence and my array and the answer for the first bit, and then we can see if we can add the whole family to it after. So here's my check-in point. Look, 5 lots of 3 was 15. Now what's the other associated fact and the other 2 that start with 15? Well done. And then, so remember, there are 2 that will start with 15, and there's 1 more, a different one that will end with 15. Here we go, look. So if 5 lots of 3 are 15, then 3 lots of 5 are 15, and 15 is the same as 3 lots of 5, and 15 is the same as 5 lots of 3, because all that means is the same as. It doesn't matter whether it comes here or whether it comes here. Tricky stuff today. You're doing a great job. Should we try another one? We'll do the same thing. I'll give you the number sentence and you can tell me, you can draw me the array and you can show me the other 3 associated facts as well. Okay, let's do 8 lots of 2. 8 times 2. So 8 times 2 equals, and then remember, how are you going to lay that array out? And then you can also write the other 3 number sentences that go with it as well. Remember that 2 will start with 16 equals, and the other one will finish with equals 16. Here we go. 8 times 2 equals 16. I've got 8 and then 8 more. And I could have counted that in twos. Look, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And then from there, if 8 times 2 is 16, then 2 times 8 is 16. And 16 equals 2 times 8. And 16 equals 8 times 2. You're doing a really great job because this is really tricky. Let's see if we can do another one together. So let's see if we can do another one together. So this time, let's do 3 times 9. Let's do 3 times 9 this time. So remember how many going across, and then remember how many we are going to need going down. Make sure that you leave enough space, and then you can fill in the others, making sure that that array is nice and clear, because we need that really to be able to count them successfully. And then we can use that to help us put our answer in. And then from there, we can use that whole number sentence to help us create 3 more. 2 that have the bigger number and equals at the beginning, and 1 more that has it at the end. I'll give you a minute, not even that long, I'll give you half a minute more. Make sure that array is nice and clear, and then you can count it. Remember, if you're counting in ones, you don't need to count the first row because that's 9, so you can just start at the beginning of the second row. It just saves you a little bit of counting, especially when they're big long lines like that. Are you ready? Okay, here we go then. 3 lots of 9, so I had 3 and I had 9 in each one. I had 27 altogether. Therefore, if 3 lots of 9 are 27, then 9 lots of 3 are 27, because it's just like that. And then 27 is the same as 9 lots of 3, and 27 is also the same as 3 lots of 9. Well done. What a brilliant job you are doing. So it's really similar to addition in that you can just switch the numbers around with multiplication. It doesn't work the same with everything, but it does with addition and it does with multiplication. Let's see if we can do another one. Let's see if we can do 4 lots of 6. So 4 times 6 this time. So 4 times 6. So we do the array. Now, I have to be honest, I find it easier if I do it going down across and then do it down, and then I just have to fill it in, because that way I know that I only have to think really, really hard for the first 2 bits. So I have to make sure I get the right number going across, then I have to make sure I have the right number going down. But after that, I'm just filling in the gaps. So it just makes life a little bit easier for me, which is always nice. And then we work that answer out by counting them. And then we can use what we've got there to write the associated number fact. So we have a whole number family, a whole multiplication family. There are 4 number sentences there all together. I'll give you a second or so. Okay, you ready? So we had 4 times 6, which is 24. Now I counted across this way because I knew there was 6, 12, and then I knew that was 12 again actually, so I just added them together. And if 4 times 6 is 24, then 6 times 4, I just swapped those 2 round, which is the same as turning this on its end. And then 24 is the same as 6 times 4, and 24 is the same as 4 times 6. Now, that is quite a complicated idea, but once you can get your head around it, it'll make things much easier, because you'll know that link between the two, and from one bit of working out, we can work out 3 other linked, associated facts. So have a practice. You can multiply anything by anything, but keeping the numbers relatively low will be useful because there's less drawing involved. And remember, when you're doing those arrays, it's really important to keep it nice and clear and well laid out. You did an incredible job, and if you're still finding it tricky, then persevere with it and you'll get there. Whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye-bye. Hi, so today we are going to do a little experiment, and the experiment that we are going to do involves Mentos and Fizzy Pop. You might have seen it before. It's quite a cool experiment. I will tell you the science behind it and why it works, and then what I really want to look at is scientific questioning and using an experiment to see if we can test that as a result. Because in actual fact, we can use scientific questioning all of the time in lots of different things to test a hypothesis that we might have. This is a more extreme fun version of it, but we can use it all the time, so it's a really useful skill to have. The science behind what works, what will happen is I will take the lid off the bottle and I will drop a couple of Mentos into the bottle of Coke, and there will be some sort of explosion. Now, it might just be a really little like volcano out the top of the bottle, or it might be quite a fierce explosion. The science behind this and why it works is that the Mentos, so Mentos look like this, and they're like little chewy mints, but the surface of them, although it looks to be quite smooth, is actually porous. So this surface here is full of lots and lots of little holes, and what happens is that when I put my mint into the bottle, the carbon dioxide in my Coke, in this case, attaches to all of those little holes, meaning that there's lots of bubbles concentrated in one small space, generally at the top of the bottle, because that's where it's just gone in. And so the pressure of all of that gas being in such a small space means that it ejects the bubbles from the bottle. Similar to if I were to shake this bottle and then open it, then all of those bubbles that had been created, the force of that would eject them from the bottle. So I don't know whether or not that might have happened to you before. You might have dropped a fizzy bottle on the floor, and then when you've gone to open it, made a big mess. Kind of similar. So all of those carbon dioxide bubbles will grab onto all the tiny porous holes, all the porous surface, all the little holes in my mint, and they will all be together. There'll be loads of bubbles close together, and so that will mean that the bubbles are ejected from the bottle, and therefore we get an explosion of sorts. Not an explosion, but an evacuation of bubbles. So I have a few different questions that I would like to answer. I read somewhere, someone said, and I wanted to test it for myself, that diet cola would create a more fierce reaction than full fat standard cola. So I thought, well, let's start with that. The way that I can test it, so we're talking about fair testing and setting up a test, the way that I can test it and I can keep it fair is, although it's not the same product in it, they are both 2 litres. So they're both the same size bottle. They both have the same amount of cola in them. They are also both brand new bottles, so they're not flat. They're both brand new bottles. And then I think the other thing that we will do is we will make sure that we use the same number of sweets in each one. For ease, we'll do 2 because I can put 2 in and get out of the way. And then the other thing that I've done is I've put a stick just behind it, and then it will be a non-standard unit of measure because I'm not going to stand close enough that I can do it while it's up in the air, but I can visualize where it gets to, I can mark that off, and then I can have that as a reminder when it comes to testing the other bottle. So I have a few things there that I can put in place to keep my test fair. So I will have the same way of measuring. I will do it by eye. I won't use a measure as such. I could, in that I could measure my stick in centimetres afterwards and see the difference in centimetres. That would work. I will keep to the same size bottle. I will keep to a fresh bottle, and I will keep to 2 sweets each time. I'm going to record my results so that I remember. So I'm going to, at the top, I am going to write that I am using 2 mints, 2 litre bottles and new bottles, because those are my variables that will stay the same. And then underneath that I am going to write Coke and Diet Coke, and then next to it I can, if I draw it in a little table, next to it there's plenty of space that I can write an observation, I can write what I see, and then afterwards I can put a comparison in there as well as to which one went higher. And then maybe I could reason why I thought that might be. Today is more about the questioning and how we would test that rather than that. So let's get started. I will open the bottle and we'll put 2 in, we'll mark it off, and then we'll have a go at doing the diet one and see whether or not that's any higher. And that will answer my question. Or my question number 1. I have another one. Okay, lid out of the way. 2 mints in the bottle. Let's go. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so it does fizz. It wasn't really big, it was just like a volcano, like lava coming over the top. I will mark it on when I take the other bottle up, but that is what I'm going to write. I'm going to write like lava, and then I'm also going to write low. I don't need to write in full sentences because they're my notes for me. Okay, so I will need my diet bottle, I will need some more mints. Swap it side by side. Oh no. We just give it a minute. And this one was only really low. So we'll mark that one really low. Now this one is already really full of bubbles, so I think this one may well explode more than the other one did. Let's make sure all of our stuff is far away just in case it does. Okay, are we ready? This one was much gassier. Wow, did you see that? That was quite a bit bigger, wasn't it? So in my Diet Coke one, I can write bigger reaction, because that's what that was. It was a reaction. And then I can hypothesize about why I think that was. But I think that the bottle of Coke was fizzier anyway. So that is why. Maybe there is more carbon dioxide in a bottle of Diet Cola, and therefore the bottle of Diet Cola reacted more fiercely because there were more bubbles to make that reaction straight away. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's to do with the ingredients that are in a bottle of Diet Cola. So in full fat Coke there is sugar, and in Diet Cola there are replacements for that sugar. So maybe it's to do with the sweeteners rather than the sugar. Maybe the sweeteners react with the holes in the Mento as well as the carbon dioxide. There are multiple reasons that it could be, but for me, what I was interested in was posing a question, setting up an experiment, making sure it was fair, and recording my results. Now, this got me thinking, if the reason that this whole experiment works is to do with the carbon dioxide that is in the bottle of fizzy pop, if that's the reason that the entire thing works, is it only limited to cola-based drinks? Or if I did it with a bottle of lemonade, would I equally get a similar reaction? This is how my brain works. I question things all the time. I want to know why and how and where and when. And that's a really great way to learn. The only way that I will find the answer to this is to try it. So I got a bottle of lemonade. Now, fair experiment. We talked about a fair experiment before, so we will be keeping, well done, we will be keeping to 2 mints. We will be keeping a 2-litre bottle, and it's a new bottle. So the only thing that is different about the whole thing is that the pop inside it is lemonade, not cola. Okay, not full fat cola, not diet cola. It's lemonade instead. That's the only thing that's different. So I'll go and grab it and let's see whether or not it makes a difference. The other thing that I do need to remember to do is to add it on to the bottom of my table of results, because that way, if I were to get carried away and do lots and lots and lots of more to see what the difference was, then I would still have that table of results. I wouldn't need to remember which one did which one had which reaction. I would just be able to read down that table of results and it would tell me. We're always looking in science for it to be as fair as possible, as straightforward as possible, and as easy to use the data as possible. So, like I said previously, if I wanted to make this a more solid scientific experiment, then the way that I could do that is I could make sure that I mark off each time the height of the bubbles. I would need a starting point for those bottles so that we could measure from there, and then I could measure that difference, and that would tell me the reaction or the force of the reaction based on the height of the ejection of the bubbles. So I could do that, but for the purpose of what we're doing, we don't need to. Okay, right, let's get on with it. I'll go grab it. Okay, so I have my new bottle of lemonade. I've just taken the lid off it. I have my mints. Let's go. I will make sure, there we go, that it's not going to fall over, and then I need to remember 2 mints, move the others out of the way, get ready to be able to move just in case. The wind has just picked up a little bit. Oh wow! Oh, now I'm so confused, because that was a far better reaction than either of our other ones. Wonder what my lemonade had in common with the others. Do you know what? It was diet lemonade. It was sugar free, so it had sweeteners in it. So it was more similar to the Diet Coke than it was to the first one that we did, but it was even higher than that. So that's what I'm going to write. So in terms of my observations, in terms of what I saw, I am going to write that it was a fierce reaction, and I'm going to write that it was higher than Diet Coke. I'm not going to write that it was the highest, because at the moment it absolutely is the highest, but if I were to test more, then I would struggle to know whether or not it actually was the highest, because there would be other things that came after it. So if I'm still inquisitive and I still might want to test more, then I should put it down as a higher rather than the highest. At the moment, it absolutely was. I wonder whether all diet drinks would cause the same sort of reaction, and whether the full fat versions cause a lesser reaction. That's something that I could investigate further by trying more things out. Hopefully you've seen today that we can question scientifically, and then we can set up a fair experiment where we keep lots of things the same and we just change the one, and we can find the answers to our questions. Sometimes the answers bring more questions, often the best ones do, but it's great learning. Hopefully you had a bit of fun, you enjoyed seeing the explosions, and we've learnt a little bit about scientific thinking and about how to set up a fair test. Whatever you do the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye-bye.
Hello Angel students. Today we are going to explore the wonderful world of asking questions. Asking questions is like opening a door to a wealth of knowledge and possibilities. So let's dive in. Before we begin, I want to start by asking you some questions. So the first one is, do you ask questions? Are you comfortable asking questions? And how often are you likely to ask a question when you feel like you would like to know some more information, or maybe you don't quite understand something specific, so you want to understand it better? So as we go along, have a think about some of those questions. And if you haven't thought of those questions before, maybe think about what stops you from asking questions, or do you feel uncomfortable asking questions, and why might that be? So as we continue, I'm going to give you some of the reasons, my personal reasons and takeaways as to why it is good and a great thing to ask questions, what the purpose of asking questions are for. Sometimes we ask questions because it's obvious that we need to ask a question. You could ask somebody where they live, for example, or what their name is. Those are some common questions, but there are times when we could be learning something new, or we could be going to somewhere we've never been before, and there are specific questions that we have to ask because they require a specific answer and piece of information that maybe we just don't have at the moment. So I'm going to give you my 5 reasons why I believe it is important to ask questions. So number 1, to learn and understand. Questions are the key to unlocking knowledge. We live in what's been called an era of information. We are in the information age. So there are lots of questions going on, and there are lots of different ways and avenues to get answers to the questions that we have. And a lot of them are at our fingertips. When we ask questions, we usually get the answers. So, I mean, imagine if we didn't ask questions and we didn't get answers. How would we know anything? How would we learn anything? If you think about babies, for example, small babies, what is one question that they usually always ask? Can you think of a question that babies, when they can obviously talk and they're beginning to find their way with speaking, what is it that they usually ask? Why? 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 But why? Don't touch that. Why? It's hot. Why? Don't do that. Be careful. Why? Constantly asking why. And if they didn't ask those questions and get an explanation so they could understand and grow their own knowledge, they wouldn't have the answers that they need to grow within themselves, to be better informed about why they should and shouldn't do certain things, especially if it's for their own safety. And of course, for a young child, a young baby growing, they're exploring the world around them. Everything is interesting. They're curious about everything. They want to know about everything. They're trying to learn everything, from being able to feed themselves to being able to tie their shoelaces. Number 2 is solving problems. Questions help us to solve problems, tasks, challenges, because if you have come up against a challenge and you just have no idea how to solve this, what will you do? You will ask questions. You will try to find out information. You will try to find ways that will help you to overcome what it is that you are being challenged with. And when you are forced to find answers to things that you don't know, you can get creative with it. You have to find ways and means to get the answers to the questions that you need answering. It's kind of like when a detective is looking for clues to solve a mystery, they need to ask the right questions to get the answers, to piece all the pieces of the puzzle together with the clues that they get. When I was younger, there was a cartoon called Inspector Gadget, and Inspector Gadget had a daughter, and I believe they had a little dog. But the point is, Inspector Gadget and his daughter had to ask the right questions to the right people in the right places for them to get all of the information that they needed to be able to solve the mystery of whatever they had to solve at the time. And they came up against lots of challenges all the time, but because they were persistent and they carried on with their mission and they asked all the right questions, no matter how difficult it got, they always got the answers that they needed to solve the mystery. Number 3, express yourself. Asking questions helps you to express yourself. It shows that you are curious and you are interested in the world around you, in learning more, in knowing more. And it's okay not to know everything. No one knows everything. That is the whole reason why along our journey called life, we have the capability and the ability to always be learning. So it's always a wonderful thing when someone wants to constantly learn, when you want to know more, when you want to grow further. And asking questions and being brave with asking questions is an amazing way to fill in the gaps of all the bits and pieces that you don't already know, because what you don't know, you don't know. It's just like not being able to do something. It's completely easy when you do know how to do it, but if you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know, the only way you are going to know is to ask questions, is to ask, how do you do this? What is this? How do I get there? How can I better understand this? They're all questions that help you to know more about whatever it is that you are trying to discover more about. Number 4, which is a favourite of mine. Asking questions is important because it allows you to connect with others. Isn't that a beautiful thing, to connect with others? It's like having a bridge. Imagine this is the bridge. You can see the bridge, right? The bridge is right here. And you have one person here and another person here, and you meet on this bridge because you connect by asking the right questions. The right questions could be, how did you get here? What's your name? Where are you from? How old are you? And as you continue asking more and more questions, you build a beautiful connection with another person based on all the information that you have gained from them by asking the right questions, and vice versa. They will ask you questions and you will in turn get to know each other and connect and build a lovely relationship because you have asked the right questions. You have been interested in them, you were intrigued, you were curious, you wanted to know more about them, and it allowed you to connect. When we speak to people, we share our experiences, they share their experiences, we learn about how people think and the thoughts that they have, and sometimes you might think you're the only one that thought about things a certain way, and you realize that as you get to know someone and you ask the right questions and they ask you certain questions, you actually have very similar ways of thinking about things. It's very funny when you ask certain questions, you realize it's not just you have somebody out there that thinks in a very similar way that you do. And sometimes you might be having a conversation with somebody and you feel like it's just not really going anywhere, you're not really connecting in the way that you might like, and then all of a sudden you ask the right question and you start to share ideas or stories start to come out that you can relate to. So I really believe that asking the right questions to people and showing that you're interested in getting to know them, just as you would like someone to be interested in getting to know you, can build a wonderful sense of adventure in getting to know somebody. Even if you've known them for a while but you haven't really had a conversation to get to know them, or somebody new that you are learning about and getting to know. And the 5th and final one is discover new possibilities. In the beginning, you will remember I mentioned that asking questions can open a door to a wealth of knowledge and a new world, basically. So when you ask questions, you are opening doors of possibilities. Behind those doors is infinite encouragement for you to learn, discover and explore as much as you want, as much as you possibly can. It invites you to dream and imagine, and as you go along dreaming and imagining, it gives you more things to explore and you come across new things that give you more questions to ask, and it just continues with that momentum. It continues building upon the questions questions and the learning and the knowledge. It's a lovely give and take relationship. So the more you question things, the more you discover, and the more you discover, the more opportunities you have for growth, and the growth doesn't ever have to stop. So if you remember some of the questions that I asked in the beginning, now that we've gone through those 5 reasons why it's important to ask questions, can you identify any moments when you have asked questions in any of those settings that I've just said? So have you asked questions when connecting with people? Have you asked questions to simply learn and know more? Have you asked questions and it's been a way of expressing yourself because it shows that you are interested or curious in a particular subject? Have you asked questions because you have something that you're trying to solve or a challenge that you're trying to overcome? Notice the times when you ask questions. Notice when other people ask questions. There's always questions going on. Always questions going on. You could go to a restaurant, for example, and it's not very clear where the bathroom is, and somebody will ask a question. I'll share a quick story with you about the importance of asking a question and just how simple asking the right question at the right time can make things so much better and easier. There was a young lady and she had gotten her dream job. She had been wanting this job for ages and she finally got the job. Fast forward to her first day at work at this new job, and on the morning it was raining really heavily. It was bad out there, but it was fine. She had planned her journey from the night before. She knew she was going to make it with ample time. However, on the day that she needed to go, that particular route had been disrupted because the weather was so awful. So she had to go a different way. She had to find an alternative route to get to work. And she needed to find a bus. There was a specific bus that she needed to get, but she wasn't sure exactly where the bus stop was. And she was going this way and that way, and she just wasn't sure how to get to this bus stop. Google Maps was not helping. So she saw a lady, and this lady was on her phone. So she didn't want to seem rude because it was very clear the lady was having a conversation, but she really wanted to make her best impression and get to work on time. And it really wasn't her fault that she had a planned journey and she couldn't go that way. So she very kindly and respectfully asked the lady if she would mind telling her where she could get this bus if she knew. Luckily for her, the lady knew, and would you believe it was right around the corner from where she was. So always ask questions. Never feel like you don't have the right or the choice to ask a question. If there is something you want to know, you need to know, you don't know, ask questions and discover new possibilities along the way. Goodbye, Angel students.
Hello everyone, and for me, let's do 3 breathing exercises first. 2 foot 1, arm straight. Breathing in through your nose. All the good energy into your body. Breathing out. Release the tension from your body. 2 more times. Breathing in through your nose. And breathing out through your nose. So 1 more time. Okay, now let's do a quick exercise for the joints. 1 foot wide, wrists and ankles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your elbow on. Hands reach as far as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One hand higher, one hand lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the elbow look back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slightly bend your knees, relax your shoulders 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Shoulders down, head up, neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll your shoulders. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax your back 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One hand front, like for your long version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the shoulders. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so today we're gonna go through some basic. Because we finished the form now, so we need to practice a little bit punching, because in the form we do a lot of punching and kicking. So today we're gonna focus on the punching technique, because otherwise when you do the punch, you don't know how to practice correctly. So we're gonna do 10 push-ups. Just prepare the body. 1, all the way down and all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so push up just like preparation for the punching. So you can do like few sets. You can do 10 push up, maybe 20, 50 push up, punch, then 10 push ups, and then do some punching. You can do a few sets, but we only do one set today. So when you start, remember in the very beginning session we teach, when you stand, always 2 foot wide. Like basic standing position. When you clench your face, you're breathing in through your nose. When you punch, breathing out. Open up your hands, breathing in through your nose, and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out slowly. Feel how you move. Reach out far as you can. Let's do 10 times slowly. 1. Don't use any power. 2. Reach out far as you can. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little bit of power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So you realize we did the breathing like once very slow, like soft, yeah, like a yin, and once very dynamic, like a yang, like a yin-yang balance. So this is a punch we do in the form same. For example, the first movement, elbow, then marble, and punch. So you don't have to use power when you practice in the beginning. You can use the marble and punch slowly. Yeah? Because sometimes when you go too fast, you get very stiff. So we're gonna do this one only for 5 times. Inhale, hands up. And exhale. Same time you can raise up your heel a little bit as well here. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathe. Your heel is good for your kidneys function. And same, clench your face slowly, breathing in. And elbow strike. Same time, you step to the side. Then first Kung Fu stance, marble, both leg bends. And punch. You punch, you relax your left hips, right leg push the floor. Yeah. Let's do 4 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Clench your face. Elbow straight. Marble. Bend your knees. When you're getting better, remember, you can bend to put bottle water on your leg, not falling down. That's why you should do the Kung Fu stance. 90 degree. Marble. And punch. You see the back leg? Push the floor. Yeah. Okay. One more time. Inhale, hands up. And exhale. Then elbow. And marble. Block. Yeah? Right hand block. Right hand outside. Left hand inside. Then punch. And relax his hips. And punch. Okay, 2 more times. Same technique. Breathing in. Raise up your heel. And breathing out. Breathing in, clench your face. Then breathing out. Elbow straight. Then first Kung Fu stance, marble, right hand block, right hand front of your body. Then turn your body to the left, then left hand punch. Okay, let's try last one. Breathing in, hands up, and breathing out. Then clench your face, elbow. First Kung Fu stance, marble. Then Kung Fu. Okay. Remember, in Kung Fu, you have to repeat 10,000 times normally, yeah? Of course, when we did in the session, we only did a few times. That's why to master one form takes about 3 to 5 years. When you practice, you can do, we do 5 times, you can do 10 times. Okay? Let's try last time together. Inhale, hands up. And exhale. Feel the movement. 1, 2, 3, and stop. And inhale. And exhale. Let's do first comfortable stance, stretch first, 3.5 foot point, and last stretch, marble stretch. This can help your stance lower, yeah? Also, it's good for your hips, good for your back, and good for your body function. 1. When you're breathing in, look forward. When you're breathing out, turn your body. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, relax your leg. So when you practice this Kung Fu stance, we did it in the class, we did a little bit quicker. When you do by yourself, should be minimum 5 minutes. Yeah. So when you do the stance, make sure you do a little bit longer. Okay. But let's do last 3 breathing together. Same technique. So make sure you practice by yourself, like a push up and a punch in and stance and punch in, and repeat the list 10 times or hundreds of times a day. Yeah. Okay. If you do hundreds times a day, it will take 100 days to do 10,000 times. Okay. So now let's practice last 3 breathing. Breathing in to help your body recover from the training, help you recover faster. And breathing out. Get rid of tension from your body. 2 more. Breathing in like a moving meditation. And breathing out. Last one. Breathing in through your nose. And breathing out. Okay. So in the next few sessions, we're going to go through the form step by step again from beginning. But every time we focus on one movement. Today we focus on marble James Gumbo. Next time we're going to focus strike and kick. Okay. So just help you improve the details. Let's finish here today.
Please like and subscribe so you can get more and more